Hello, David Webb here. I'm going to do a watercolour demonstration. The location is a place called Broadsands, which is about half an hour's walk from me. It's quite a simple scene, but I'm doing this because it shows the process of the way I work. Welcome to David Webb Art. I always start my paintings with a drawing. I think it's quite important to have a drawing as your basis to work on. Probably goes back to when I was an illustrator, which I did from around 1980 to 2000. I illustrated books and magazines on natural history, and it was subjects like birds, frogs, trees, plants, you name it. If it lived, I painted it. Now, even though I paint in a much looser style, it's still important that the drawing that I do for the painting, even though it might be a lot simpler, is still correct. If your perspective is out in a street scene, it doesn't matter how good the brushwork is, it's always going to be wrong. So you've got to get that right first. Perspective and proportions, very important. Once you're happy with that, then it's okay to start the painting. For this demonstration, I'm using a 200-pound sheet of Quarter Imperial Bockingford paper with the knot surface. I'm drawing the outline with a 5B pencil. Once I'm happy with the drawing, then it's time to start the painting. Now, most of my paintings are done in 3 washes. First, I completely soak the paper with a brush, starting at the top and working to the bottom. I make sure all of the paper is damp, and then I start to apply the colours, which I actually mix on the paper, and this is quite exciting to do, and it creates like the atmosphere of the painting, which is going to sort of run through the entire painting process. Once we've got this done, this is the foundation wash. I let that dry, and then it's ready for the second wash. So in that first wash, I established the light tones in the painting. It's time to paint the middle tones now. So I have to be careful not to cover up things in the picture which need to stay light. In this second wash, I'm concentrating mostly on mid-tones, and I start at the back of the painting. In this case, the horizon you can see, that's Torquay in the background. I'll paint that strip first, and then come forwards and paint the cliffs, starting in the furthest cliff and carrying on all through the line of cliffs down to the beach. And wherever possible, I try and join shapes. So it's one big continuous wash. And I'm still mixing colour on the paper too. You'll see I change from reds to yellows and then greens. There's a bit of vegetation on the top of the cliff, so there's a bit of green involved there. And then the beach itself is this lovely sort of red sand. At this stage, I resist the urge to start putting in detail. So once the second wash has dried, it's time to do the third and final wash, which is mainly the darks and the details. Until you put those shadows in, everything looks pretty flat. But once you start putting the shadows on those rocks, you'll see, that they're lit from the right hand side. I don't know if you recall when I did the drawing, right at the beginning, on the top right hand margin, I drew a little picture of a sun. I always do that, just out of habit. It just reminds me where the light's coming from. So if that sun's coming down from the right, all the shadows on the rocks are going to be cast to the left. The sea itself is quite calm today, but there is a little bit of movement there. There's a couple of very shallow waves coming in, and I can see a sort of greenish tinge to those, so I'll get those in. Also, along the waterline, the sand is damp, and because it's wet, it takes on a bit of the sky colour. So it's sort of red sand, but it's got some blue in it as well. The line of green seaweed sort of breaks up all that orange and red. It's a complementary colour of red, but it also leads us into the picture as well. There are some details on the beach, a few stones, a few little shadows around that rock pool there, and that's about it really. It's very tempting to get the little brushes out and paint every little stone, but that's not the way I work. I like a sort of looser approach, more of an impression. You have to be quite disciplined when it comes to watercolour, particularly at the end, because it's very tempting to start painting all those little details, but painting doesn't really need that. I have to be quite strict with myself. At some point I'll say, no, that's it, brush down, walk away. Well, that's the end of my demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. I'll also be adding some films on techniques, different watercolour techniques, and also materials and things like that. So if you want to see more of the same, please hit subscribe. Bye for now. I'll see you next time.